Alright guys, so recently Smugit has released a new unit called Perfumer Byblis, in which is already out in the game. You can access it into the journal and look for Fire and Soul Weaver category. And here she is. So my first impression for this unit is actually she's really well thought out by Smilegate. So we're gonna look for her kit. For the Rose Breeze, which is her S1, attacks the enemy with scented paper and has 60% chance to inflict decreased defense for one turn. That means if you're going to max mola this, it will turn into 75% in total. This is really nice because in PvP, defense break is a really valuable debuffs. So we're gonna look for the S2, which is her passive. At the start of the enemy's turn, grants lingering fragrance to allies for one turn. So what does this do is it increases max health by 5%, and when attack reflects 8% of the damage suffered back to the attacker. That means if you have 4 people in the team, that's 40% reflected damage, right? So if the enemy has something like an AoE S3, like Frioren, some glass cannons who does a lot of damage, it will deal a lot and even like one-shotting the unit itself. So let's look more. When an ally's health is 50% or less after being attacked, activates La Fienne and Rose. What this does is it dispels 2 debuffs from all allies and recovers health before granting a barrier for 2 turns. I'm not sure like how big this healing capabilities are, but it does look kind of broken for an anti-cleave unit. So I'm guessing this will be Smilegate's move to replace Fire Ida into a more aggressive kit, since it doesn't really provide some sustenance against cleave attacks, right? So they just decided to release this Byblis unit. And I'm kind of seeing this in new light because anti-cleave units are kind of niche in general, and this just slaps you in the butt. So for the S3, after granting increased effectiveness, so that means effectiveness will be applied first to the caster for 3 turns, which is enough window for the Rose Breeze, which is the S1 of her, to proc the D break, which is kind of huge. So that means you just need less gear score to build her. So this redirect is provoke on all enemies. I can see this already. They just need to pair this into someone like Scales, which is capable of making the front line to be just 0 HP straight away and just reflects the damage more. And I guess that's like one way on how you make this Byblis work. So this 70% chance to inflict phantom effects and then detonates instantly is actually kind of good. Okay, that means you just apply the injury straight away in one turn. Okay, so they're making really nice adjustments for this. I like Venom, but that also means Schneel is gonna hard counter her, I think. Okay, but to be honest, she's an anti-cleave unit, and I feel like she will do great. Let's see about the preview stat. So, based on my understanding, this amount of health, 5.3k, is a decent start for Perfumer Byblis. That means she's not really that hard to build, and the defense is also on the decent side as well. All right. She also gets another 18% effectiveness, which also reduces the gear score needed for her. This is nice. Okay. She doesn't need to be fast. She just needs to be bulky, and maybe like if you're talking about speed, then it's probably like 200 speed or something around that range, I guess. So this looks insane, not gonna lie. This is limited summon, so you have to pull for her, I think. Okay, I actually already have her built based on all this, right? So this is her build. She looks nice. Her S3 animation, like this is profile card worthy, bro. No cap. How do I see this? Okay. This is Soulburn. No animations, just regular one. Looking kinda good, not gonna lie, bro. Smilegate has improved all these animations. They just make it more seamless, um, according to their game style design. And I feel like this is a really well thought unit. Not gonna lie. All right, so the final verdict is I feel like Byblis is actually more refined unit than any other anti-cleave units. Something like Fire Ida, but Fire Ida is more on like more passive side because she doesn't do any cleanses. She doesn't do any like she just debuffs basically. Unlike Byblis, she heals, she cleanses, granting barrier. She does so much debuffs as well. That is actually crazy. If you're comparing this with Fire Ida, I feel like I would use Fire Ida on more offensive side rather than defensive side. She just grants stuff. This is easily like manipulated by the cleavers. You can just like use one shot cleave units, whatever. And the breaks and silence is also like pretty damn good though. S1 is stuns, and she also has like stun artifact like Abyssal Crown. So these both of these units are kind of different if you're talking about it, even though they're anti-cleave units. And that's it for me. That's my analysis of the hero, and I feel like she's gonna be really nice if her healing is nice. And that's it for it, guys. See you next time.